Hi everyone, it's that time again, and today I'm going to be talking about discretion as protection. And what I mean by this is, as I mentioned in the little snippet, the description, have you ever felt like you have overshared and then afterwards gone, uh-oh? And I think as extroverts, we share a lot of ourselves with the world, but have you ever found yourself thinking, oh dear, I wish I hadn't shared all of that? And it can result in feeling embarrassed, exposed, and vulnerable. So today I want to talk about, first of all, why we do this, but also what we can do instead to protect ourselves until we know that the person we're talking to can be trusted with our heart. And I also want to touch on how using discretion as protection still fits with the concept that I'm encouraging, which is remaining 100% authentic and true to yourself. But first, just a little bit about me for those people who might be watching this for the first time. So I'm Jen, I'm a mindset transformation coach, and I am passionate about helping women put themselves first, which is a tough concept for many, in order for them to be better mothers, sisters, friends, partners, etc. And I use brain science and my psychology degree to do that. I'm also the host of the free Facebook group Highly Sensitive Extroverts. So if you're an HSP or highly sensitive person and you're an extrovert, then you probably found that you don't quite fit. It's hard to find your place in the world because you know you're an extrovert, but you feel more introverted at times. And when you engage with other highly sensitive people, they feel really quite different to you. That's because highly sensitive extroverts are truly unique. We make up only about 6% of the population, and we have very different struggles and challenges as a result of that uniqueness. So that's why I created the Highly Sensitive Extroverts group to help with that. I also wanted to draw your attention before we get stuck into today's topic to a free roadmap I created, Live Your Ideal Life Roadmap. There's a link to download that in the post attached to this video. So back into today's topic, discretion as protection. So have you ever found yourself telling a story about yourself to relative strangers, or you get home after a night out and you find yourself thinking, oh, why did I tell them all of that detail and personal stuff? And sometimes you might even know you're doing it while you're doing it, so you can hear the words coming out of your mouth, but you're not quite sure how to stop. So I have done this for most of my life, and on the plus side, I found that people are often drawn to me because I wear my heart on my sleeve and they know where they stand with me. It also shows, I believe, a kind of fearlessness and self-acceptance, because it's kind of having that attitude, well, this is me, warts and all. However, when it comes to some people, they have used this against me. So when we share personal stuff about ourselves, we're essentially giving away some of our power. So it's really important to be careful about who we give that power to, because it's really not a nice place to be, feeling vulnerable, exposed, and afraid about the knowledge and therefore power that we have voluntarily just handed to someone else. So this can also result in us feeling stupid or other self-disparaging thoughts. The other thing that can happen is almost the opposite effect, which is that we as extroverts are normally quite outgoing, but we can actually withdraw and shut down completely and find it difficult to open up to anyone if this happens often enough. So if we feel exposed and vulnerable and are hurt by other people using that information, if that happens often enough, then our silence and difficulty sharing then becomes a defense mechanism or a default position, and we find it hard to open up even if we want to. So if you can relate, whether you're watching this live or whether you're watching the replay, then please comment something like, yes, me equals heart on my sleeve, or yep, I'm in shutdown mode if you're somebody who's gone to that point where you just don't feel comfortable sharing anything. Then comment below. So why do we do this? I think it comes from a place that usually extroverts are quite good with our words, and we can easily build relationships with people, and we feel that by sharing stuff about ourselves, the other person will feel more comfortable to do the same. And that's true, but we need to allow the other person to earn our trust first before pouring our hearts out, because it's the only way to protect our sensitive hearts. So earn the trust first rather than, oh, I've just known you for 2 minutes and here's my life story, the painful bits, the embarrassing bits. I've done this before, as you can tell, because it's all coming back to me now. So let them earn your trust first before pouring your heart out, because it is about protecting our sensitive hearts. And I'm not suggesting that there's anything wrong with pouring our hearts out and wearing our hearts on our sleeve, but it's just if you add in being a highly sensitive person, we're more likely to be hurt by people who we perhaps shouldn't have trusted with our life story. And if you're highly sensitive person who's watching this, I'm sure you can relate. So what do we do instead? A couple of things. First of all, we need to do some prep work. So before you attend a social outing where you might fall into your old patterns, prepare yourself and decide that discretion is going to be your focus for the day or the event. You can also use a trigger phrase or a trigger word that you can repeat to yourself if you notice that you're doing it again. It could be the saying, discretion is the better part of valor, or I'm giving away my power, I'm oversharing. Basically anything that will trigger your mouth to stop, or your brain to tell your mouth to stop. And the next thing you can do is change the subject and ask the other person a question about themselves or their lives. Now, I'm not suggesting small talk here, because highly sensitive extroverts, we don't like small talk, but something that interests you about them. And the last thing is focus on questions and practicing your listening skills when you're interacting with others as a way to help practice discretion. Now, in terms of being 100% authentically us, that's still possible when we're using discretion. All that we're doing is we're simply choosing to be more discerning about who we trust with our hearts. It's not dishonest or hiding who we are. It's simply using a helpful trait, i.e. discretion, that actually comes more easily to some people than it does to us. So as an example, I know I often talk about Woz. I should probably introduce him one day to those of you who don't know him. But he has zero trouble with this, because discretion comes 100% naturally to him. If anything, in my humble opinion, he doesn't share enough about himself, but he would be the first to admit that he's A-OK with that. So that's just an example of the fascinating differences between people, which is why I love studying psychology, or I studied psychology, and why I love human behaviour so much. So that's where today's live video is going to finish. If you'd like to continue the conversation, then you need to join the group, because I'm going to jump in live there now, and you can find out what this week's challenge is. And by challenge, I mean how we can start to implement these lessons into our life. So thanks for watching. Don't forget, join the group. The link is in the description, and download the free roadmap. I will see you in the group, or next week, same time, same place, right here. Have a great week, everybody. Ciao for now.